All right, so for this session, I'm happy to welcome Middle Wen, who is Senior Product Manager at LitePoint, and he's going to be giving us the lowdown on RedCap, which is 5G reduced capability. So if you're not familiar with the technology, it's still emerging, and he's going to be giving you an overview, a framework, and some of the testing methodologies, challenges, and potential impact of this new technology. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to him.
Hello, everyone. This is Middle from LitePoint. Today, I'm going to share some perspective from our company regarding what's the RedCap test trends and the challenges. And also, we would like to take this chance to take everyone to exploring the future of the 5G IoT testing. So before we started to dig in the details, let us take one page to see what's the introduction to the RedCap. So RedCap stands for the 5G reduced capabilities. So some people also call it like the Lite. So it's like a subset of the 5G technologies, but designed to the device that require like the lower cost or the lower capacity. So as you can see from the diagram here, so it lists out all the different categories of the 4G technologies and the different categories of the 5G technologies. Okay, so you can see that the RedCap fall into like in terms of the throughput, it's like the very similar with like the LTE Cat 4. So we know that the RedCap is not for like the legacy, the NR device application. It's more toward the IoT applications. So the purpose of the RedCap technology, the first one thing is to support in the IoT devices. The other thing is that by leverage the lower cost device, we try to enlarge the use cases or the adoptions of the 5G technologies. Right now, the RedCap has some already some commercial adoptions. So in the one hand, we see like the growing adoptions. So those are mainly in the consumer or the industrial IoT markets. And also we see some like the key applications. We will see the RedCap like launch on those key applications first. The first one would be the wearable and some like the medical device, like some video surveillance applications, some sensors. Okay. In terms of the regions, Asia and North America, they are like the two leading regions who has launched or the commercial, the 5G RedCap network in the world. Okay. So China is leading in the Asia and the US is leading in the North America. So what the required or the mandatory technologies to drive the 5G RedCap become like the possible? Seems like the legacy 5G, like it has like lots of the like advanced technologies. But as I mentioned earlier, the RedCap is for like the lower cost and the lower like complex device. So what would be the technologies to enable to help to make those RedCap device come true? So I list out the three major technologies I would like to discuss with you. The first one would be the bandwidth part, also called the BWP. So BWP uses a small part of the available bandwidth. And the second one would be the connecting mode discontinuous receptions. These technologies allows the device to switch to the low power modes while stay in the connecting mode. And the last one would be the observer time difference of arrival, also called like the ODDOA. So this one determines the locations by measuring the signal time difference from the different base stations. So combine these three major technologies, the benefit we can see in like the two major domains. The first one is the power saving. So by leveraging the BWP and the continuous mode, the DRX, we can bring the power saving benefit to the RedCap device. Also, in one hand, we try to reduce the cost, but we still want to maintain the performance. So those like three major technologies, they also give the better performance. Yeah, but they can use like a more efficiently of the spectrum use for the network performance, and also that can balance the power saving with the connectivities. What would be the requirement elements to do the RedCap testings? So usually for any like the 5G devices, we can divide the testing into maybe three main portions or like three main steps. The first one would be the R&D testing. So for any like the companies, they try to produce, design, or develop a RedCap device, they need to do some R&D testing to ensure the RedCap device work as designed. And they also need to check the basic functions and the performance of those devices. And after the R&D testing, you need to make sure the device meet the 3GPP standards. So you will go to do like the conformance testing. So conformance testing includes of like three main portions, like the protocol testing, RF testing, and some like the signaling testing. And the next one that after you finish the R&D and the conformance testing, you need to ensure your device work with on the carrier networks. That's why you need to do the carrier acceptance testings with the carrier networks you want to launch your device. So what would be the challenges when the like designers try to consider like the all three different kinds of the testing? The first challenge would be the interoperabilities, because like the device you need to work with like a different network and a different device. So you need to make sure your device can talk to other devices, talk to the variants of the networks. The other part, especially for the RedCap device, would be the performance challenges. As I mentioned earlier, the mission of the RedCap device is provide a lower cost device, low cost 5G device. Okay, but still you need to keep the good performance with this like the lower cost device, or even with the lower power use. So when doing the testing, you need to test under the different conditions to ensure the qualities. And the last challenge is to make sure your device, your design is compliant with the 3GPP standards. Yeah. So as the 3GPP standards always involve with the different generations, with the different standards, so you need to always stay updated with the latest standards. And what would be the test like challenges when we consider the entire like the RedCap implementations? So we want to cut in the like maybe two different perspectives. So the first perspective we look at from the technology side. So we can see like from the like the power consumption, from like the lower like the complexity and the performance. So it's kind of hard to like simultaneously you need to fulfill the device need to be like the low power, it need to like the low cost, low capacity, but you need to keep the high performance. Okay, so this brings the technical challenges to the 5G RedCap technologies. So the device need to use the less power. So that's why I mentioned like the power saving features in the previous slides, like the BWP or the CDRX. So those like power saving features can save in the powers on the RedCap device. And also that the RedCap is designed by using like the smaller bandwidth and operate under the less data rates. Okay. And the last one is that we need to ensure the device work well despite being simpler. So one of the key things is that when design the device or validate the device, you need to test smoothly to meet the performance standards. So the testing is like especially critical for a RedCap device. The second perspective we can see from more like the commercial size. So the first one is like the cost effectiveness. So the RedCap, we need to make the device affordable. Otherwise, it has no difference with the legacy, the 5G device. So the important things is that we need to optimize the productions and even consider to use the cheaper materials in the design. But anyway, you need to still keep the very good performance. The second one for the entire the RedCap ecosystem, the diverse application is also a challenge, but it also brings some opportunities. So the entire ecosystem need to meet the different needs for the different IoT devices. And also we need to create the different flexible solutions for different applications. Seems like we need a device for RedCap and for sensors that will be totally different. So what would be the necessary elements to be the useful and the powerful testing solutions for a RedCap device? So the first thing is that we talk about the RedCap. So one of the key elements of the RedCap would be the economic. Seems that it target for the IoT device. So every time when we talk about the IoT, it means that you will have like a massive device in the network. So it means that every design, like every technology company or every designers, they need to consider, okay, right now I have like the massive quantity of the device. And how do I design or select the testing solutions that can be matched with the RedCap device? So here I want to put the one very key thing for the testing solution is that the economic of the testing must scale up for the RedCap device. Because if we just follow like the legacy way, like the traditional way to do the 5G RedCap device testing, you will end up like, okay, I don't have enough the testing capabilities, or my testing cost is too high to fulfill the RedCap, the RedCap requirements. So I would like to take this chance to share with you like one of the very good example of like what would be the good and what would be the sufficient testing solution for the RedCap. So this is the LitePoint IQ Cell 5G signaling co-box testing solutions. So these solutions is designed for the 5G NR, including the RedCap devices. So these solutions cover like the RF parametric testing, like the end-to-end application testing, and as well the conformance testings. These solutions offer a scalable the hardware platforms and using like the web-based user interface GUI, and also supply the automated the testing sequence test tool to help the designers or the engineers to fulfill their testing requirements. And also these solutions ensure the device can meet the 3GPP standards. And the last one is that these solutions using like the multi-cell and the multi-device architectures to make the RedCap device testing different from the legacy, like the 5G device testing. As you can see here, the IQ Cell 5G solutions can do the parallel testing of the full RedCap 2x2 MIMO devices simultaneously. Okay. So this is a very good example of like how to the scale up the economic of the testing when especially consider the RedCap testing. And what would be, we look forward to see the future trends of the RedCap technologies. So for the technology advancements, we see like the network slicing. So by creating multiple virtual network on the physical network, the operator will be able to like customize the different network applications for different applications. Also, that will require the advanced power saving mechanisms to further reduce the power use to extending the battery life on the RedCap device. Also, the market need to adopt and do some evaluations. The first one, we need to the growth in the different IoT applications. And also we require the expansion of the RedCap ecosystems. Let's make a final conclusion of my today's sharings. So we start with share some what's the RedCap. So RedCap overview. So RedCap provides simple and cost-effective IoT devices. We also talk about what's right now the market trends, especially in the Asia and the North Americans. And those like the power saving features, technologies, they are super important for the RedCap device. And also the different like the testing needs from the R&D conformers to the carrier acceptance testing, they are very important. So those requirements bring the challenges to the testings. Okay, so a good testing solutions like the LitePoint IQCell 5G solutions can ensure the device meet the standards. Also, the RedCap is like still like ongoing. So we expected that the different technologies, they will advance. And also the entire the ecosystem, they will find more like the IoT applications and build more RedCap devices. So for the future outlook, I think that one of the things is that the technologies, it will continue to improve. Especially we were expected to see like the more like a better network slicing service were provided by the network side. And also from the technology side, the more advanced the power saving features. And also like the entire, like we depending on the more like the IoT use and the new business opportunities with the RedCap. So thanks for everyone's time, and it's very good to have these opportunities to share our insights and our perspective on the RedCap testing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that overview on RedCap and its potential impact on the ecosystem as it sees broader deployment and adoption. So with that, we will head into our next session.